Hey guys, I'm Cass,
Hi guys, I'm Roman.
and we're an international couple living in South Korea. Today is actually, we have an extended vacation, so we were just thinking of some ideas and chatting, and we were thinking about some challenges that we faced over the past 6 years being together, not only as a couple, but specifically as an international couple. So we were just thinking we could make a short video about some of those challenges, and maybe some people share those challenges with us who are also in an international relationship.
Yeah, not just based in Korea, but actually based in all over the world. We feel international couples face a lot of challenges. We have faced a lot of, the difficulties and, obstacles so far. And also we are still facing those at the moment as well. So we brought 7 challenges that we face mainly these days. So it might be, different to couple. So if you have other ideas, you can also add your opinions on our video as well.
Yep, let's get into it.
Yeah, first thing would be the cultural differences. So obviously I'm Korean and then she's from South Africa. So I'm from Eastern country and then she's from Western country. So there are major cultural differences.
But yeah, I think obviously because you're Korean, we have some unique differences that are specific to Korea. So specifically Lunar New Year holiday, we've had 6 of them together. In Korea, we celebrate them a little bit differently than we did when we lived overseas together. But I think as a major holiday goes, I think the Korean way of celebrating is very different to Western ways of celebrating holidays.
Yeah, it's quite different. I've been in Seollal, Chuseok, which are Korean holidays. And also I've experienced, the Easter in Ireland. And also I've experienced Christmas a lot in South Africa. So it's quite distinctive, and how we perceive the holidays is quite different.
Yeah, I think specifically, I would say gift giving is quite different in these situations.
Yeah, it's very different because in Korea, when you give gifts, sometimes you buy things and then wrap it up and then give it to your parents, give it to your relatives. But actually, the more normal way these days is you give the pocket money, because it's easier for us to give the gift. And also it's a little bit better maybe for people to receive the gift as the cash. You can use the cash for your needs. So that's why these days it's more common in Korea.
Yeah, I think in Western culture, if you were to give somebody just cash in an envelope, they might think, oh, this person didn't really think about me, they don't know me, they haven't taken the time to choose a present. But I think in Korea, it's perceived very differently.
It was quite difficult for me to, think about, what kind of gifts that I have to give it to the, Cass's parents and Cass's relatives as well. But sometimes it's actually quite, how to say, gratifying maybe. And also it's a little bit happy to see them that they're really excited about the gift that I chose. So it's quite meaningful as well. But you obviously have to spend time and put some effort to decide what to buy for their gifts.
Yeah, I think for me it was also a bit of a culture shock when Roman told me I should just give money. I felt, oh, maybe his mom's gonna think I don't care about her, or maybe his dad's gonna think I don't know him well, or even that we've known each other a long time. So I think that I had to get over that hurdle to overcome my own prejudices. But also at the same time, I think with us as a couple, when we give each other gifts, it took me some time to also remove that kind of prejudice. Oh, if he just gives me something like a gift card or something like that, that's him caring about me rather than not knowing me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And sometimes it's really meaningful to give the present, not the cash, but something you actually purchase while thinking about the people you are giving the present. To be honest, these days we actually buy some gifts to our relatives and our parents as well, and then they are actually happier to receive that.
Yeah.
If you don't really know what to give them, you can give them some a good bottle of wine maybe, and supplements for their health, things like that would be kind of easy choice.
Or in Korea, they have these very premium gift sets that are already prepackaged for you, so you don't really have to think too much about it. but usually that's some type of food or supplement,
Yeah.
like expensive fruits, expensive Korean beef, something like that.
Yes.
Can never go wrong with those. Another aspect of the cultural difference was 2 years ago we got married and we had our wedding in Korea, in Roman's hometown called Daejeon. As a South African, I had a certain expectation of what my wedding would look like since I was a kid, and I think that I had to re-evaluate like my expectations once I moved to Korea, because Korean weddings are very, very short, very, very different to like Western style weddings. So I think that that was another like big cultural difference that we faced.
Yeah, the whole process for preparation for wedding was actually, I can say there are a lot of hurdles, really. I had to persuade, Cass, and also I had to listen to Cass, understand what the Western wedding is like. I thought I knew enough about the Western weddings, but actually I knew maybe like 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
I knew really less. So that's why while preparing, I learned a lot of things about Western weddings. I learned a lot of traditions about Western marriage, and I cannot say it was easy, but it was meaningful. We understood the cultural differences, through the whole wedding process. But in the end, it worked out really well.
Yeah, I think that we made a lot of compromises for the wedding, and in the end, obviously, it turned out really beautiful. But I think maybe later we can make a video just about the wedding, because there's a lot of elements to planning a wedding. But I think different cultures have different wedding traditions, different wedding expectations, different processes within the actual wedding day. Like Korean people have a kind of secondary ceremony called pebek. So there's like other kinds of ceremonies that go within the wedding. Western weddings don't really have. Dress, location, time, food, all of those things. Basically everything is a little bit different. But yeah, I think that was another big cultural difference we had.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Another cultural difference that we kind of experienced is showing affection to your family and your relatives, maybe. So in Korean culture and in Eastern culture, I'm not so sure about now because, it has changed a lot, but still I felt that, showing affection in public and, so showing affection freely to your family, we might take it as a little bit like awkward. You never see me saying to my mom, "Oh, mom, I love you. Dad, I love you so much. Oh, 아빠 사랑해요. 엄마 사랑해." These kind of things. You've never heard from me before, right?
No. But I think like you hear me call my mom and my family, and I'm just like, "Love you, mom," just as I'm saying goodbye to her or on the phone or anything like that. And then also, I think with my family and my mom especially, I'm very touchy-feely. Like we hug a lot. We're very, very affectionate as far as families go. So I think, especially when you came to visit for the first time and my mom met you at the airport for the first time and she hugged you, I think that was like quite a big surprise. And then also like when I met your parents for the first time, I had to kind of tailor my expectations. I think if I'd met a South African set of parents, I would have definitely gone in for a hug the first time I met them. But obviously, because we're living in Korea, a bow was necessary.
Yeah, like bow was necessary. Maybe in Korea, shake hands, and you can hug as well. But it's not really that common in Korea. I used to live in Western country for about 4 years, so I learned a lot from there. So for me, it wasn't really that awkward. But for my parents to take the hugging and those like affectionate, just gestures and sayings and all that, could be a little bit awkward. But thankfully, they haven't got enough from us. I mean, like me and my brother. I can see they're really happy when Kes hug them, and also when Kes, says, "Oh, I love you, 어머님. I love you, 아버님." Like these kind of things,
Right.
Oh, I can see in their face, in their eyes, like they're really, really happy about it.
Yeah. But I think like also Korean family members, maybe they're not so overt with their like loving words or loving like gestures, but I think more there's like acts of service to say that I love you, like sending food, sending kimchi, or like calling to check if you're okay. That kind of way, I think that like their love language is a little bit different. Rather than physical affection, it's more like acts of service.
But showing physical affection is also important, I think. So Korea is also changing, and I think there will be more and more people showing affection to each other in the future, I think. Yeah.
But I think like these days, especially around Seoul, I notice the couples are quite like full of PDA. There's a lot of hugging and stuff on the subway these days, which I don't think was that common before. Secondly, and I think one of the biggest ones for us is actually a language barrier. Not all international couples have a language barrier because maybe they come from countries where they speak the same language. And luckily for us, you speak English really well and you lived overseas for a long time before you even met me. So communicating in English has always been comfortable for us. But actually now, because we live in Korea together and because we want to be close to your family, obviously, who don't speak English, it's important for me to communicate in Korean somewhat. So I think that that has been like quite a big point of contention or quite a big challenge for us. And it has like caused some difficulties.
Yeah, like language is always the barrier, and it could be a really, really big obstacle as well, because I saw some couples that they cannot actually communicate 100% properly. I think love can make you overcome all those challenges and differences and things like that, but at the same time sometimes you need to communicate, you need to talk about your problem deeply, but then at the same time there is some language barrier, then you might be frustrated as well. So luckily, I could speak English a little bit, and she's an English native speaker, and also she has like great understanding of Korean as well. So yeah, luckily we don't have any communication problem, and also I don't have any communication problem with her family as well. But at the same time, my family don't speak English that much. They can understand a little bit, but their just main language is Korean. So it would be a big challenge for Kes to learn, the Korean from scratch. And she's been studying for about a year. But as you know, if you studied Korean before, you will understand that it's not really a easy language.
Yeah, I think Korean has a lot of unique features. Or maybe not unique to Korean, but it's very different to English, where Korean has an honorific system with how you speak to people. So your degree of politeness changes with however old somebody is. So obviously you'd be the most polite to a stranger or someone who's much older than you, and you'd be more casual with someone who was your very close friend or someone who was the same age as you. But that has been a little bit of a tough situation for me, obviously, because sometimes if it's not your native language, you can unintentionally make mistakes that could hurt somebody's feelings or make them feel like you're being a little bit rude or too casual with them, but even though it's not really like your intention.
Yeah, like language difference can cause a lot of misunderstandings, as you said. It happens to the other international couples as well, but at the same time it could happen to anyone who are traveling or who live in a foreign country. It could happen to anyone. Sometimes you say the same thing, but then you didn't mean that way, but because of your tone, because of your gesture, because of your joke, maybe context, that could affect people to misunderstand.
Yeah, and I think especially as couples, maybe when you fight, like your emotions can be a little bit heightened. So somebody can say something in their non-native language and they don't intend for it to be really horrible or hurtful, but it can hurt you and it can be unintentionally offensive. So I think that has happened to us before, where we've had arguments related to how someone has said something and like our interpretation of their meaning, but it wasn't actually intentional. So in these kind of cases, you have to approach the language barrier in a kind of understanding way and realize that maybe the person isn't meaning it in the way that you're perceiving.
Yeah, there's no like easy way to get over this kind of challenges. You just have to speak more, communicate more, and then talk about this when there's a problem. Teach each other, learn each other's culture. Yeah, throughout the time you can overcome, but there is definitely language barrier. So yeah, learning each other's language is still really important for international couples, I guess.
Yeah, and then also just being understanding with each other and letting something slide, which I think I particularly need to.
Well, you're grand. Third thing we would like to talk about is staring, especially in public spaces, such as in the street or public transportation. Whenever we walk down to the street and whenever we take the public transportation, or whenever we are around public spaces where there are a lot of people, we do get a lot of stares. I kind of understand why we get a lot of stares. Sometimes it feels a little bit awkward for us because they look at us, stare at us for a long time, so sometimes we might get uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think specifically because we're an interracial couple, not only an international couple, I think that it has made us more noticeable. I'm sure that other interracial and international couples experience the same thing. I think the two of us have lived or spent extended periods of time in 3 major cities. At the moment we live in Seoul, and we met and lived together in Dublin for a long time, and also we visit my family very frequently in Cape Town. So I think we have had experiences in all 3 of these places. In Cape Town we get the least stares because I think the concept of international relationships or intercultural relationships is more normalized in South Africa than other places. But obviously that's our personal experience, and obviously we don't live there all the time. We're only there on vacation usually. But in Dublin we did get a lot of stares, but I don't think we never had any overtly rude or overtly racist moments happen to us. A lot of old people mostly just staring us down uncomfortably.
In Korea, sometimes it depends on generations. Old generation obviously are more curious about us, so we appreciate that. Yeah, but we do get a lot of stares from them. Sometimes we are just walking in the street and then they just look at us
curiously.
They cannot take their eyes off us. In public transportation as well, it could go over 20-30 seconds. I'm not saying they're trying to do something to us, but we just get some stares. So if you are international couples, especially living in Korea, that kind of things could make you a little bit awkward. In South Africa, not really. As far as I felt, I haven't got that much stares in South Africa.
Yeah.
Dublin a little bit. There are still some international couples in Dublin, so I haven't felt that much, but I get stares there as well. But in Korea, quite a lot still.
I think because Korea's historically been a homogenous nation, it's monoethnic. So I think obviously now with K-pop, K-drama, there's a lot of tourists, there's a lot of people moving here who are from other countries, and I think it's really nice that it's becoming really globalized. But at the same time, I think because of that history, seeing couples together, especially married couples, is still a little bit new, exciting, interesting, especially to older people. And whenever we've had any kind of interaction with strangers talking to us because we're an international couple, it's usually been someone of the older generation.
Yeah, it's still not really that common in Korea. You cannot really see international couples often in the street, but there are more and more international couples in Korea, people from overseas. It's more globalizing these days. So, as time goes by, I think it's gonna be, a little bit better gradually.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's about it.
The 4th thing is being away from your family.